Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Kris. This video is sponsored by Yasin Muhammad. So the the video I did for you, Yasin, I didn't release the fourth. The third, the audio wasn't working. So there was I did like 5 videos in a day, and for whatever reason, all 5 of those videos got corrupt in saving. I don't understand what happened. I've had videos before that didn't record audio, and that was because there was an update to the system, to the camera, and for whatever reason, it disabled the microphone and all that stuff. Nothing happened. It just went through, and when I went through to try to do a processing thing on it, it just said the audio was corrupt. So I can redo that third and fourth. I deleted the third just before I started this. I deleted the third. It was for Abdullah Ibn Azubeya. Did I say that name right? That's off the top of my head. I think I nailed it. Sorry, that's my phone. Um, um, sorry. So I can redo the 3 and the 4, or I can. What is going on? My goodness. Give me a second. All right. Sorry. Aunt had a sister die. Okay. So, yeah. So I can redo the 3 and 4 from that, or I can do something else, and we'll just move on to that. I can redo them, or you can find something else. It's up to you. You sponsored them, so I'll let that be your decision. On this one, that cough was free, by the way, because I appreciate you. All right. um, this one is also sponsored by, yeah. Now everyone else, you can unplug your ears. You can all listen in. I hope you weren't listening before because it didn't involve you. It'd be very rude if you did. Probably should have told you to plug your ears beforehand, though. Eh. This is the. Yep, that's what it's called. I mean, it's over there for you, but it's over here for me. Um, the 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 Mahdi explained. I know that word, and this is Dr. Yasir. Now, is it Shaykh? Is that how you say that? Shaykh. And then how do you say his last name? I'm scared to try it. I don't know how to go about trying it. Qadhi? I don't know. I apologize. Oh, I've been trying to record this several times and started playing, and I clicked the thumbs up, and it was glitching, and I didn't like it, so I went back. So we'll just pretend like that. Subscribe to the channel and click on you. Okay, please, mandatory. If you like the channel, that's great. Click on the thanks button. If you want to donate to the channel, keep it running. Request a video. Your name sponsors that video. I have been speaking now for how long? 4 minutes. Feels like an hour. Nobody else cares about pretty much anything else I've said. So let's get into the video. Oh. Nope, that wasn't what I was going to say. This was a request based off of the other video about, I swear it's Abdullah Ibn Azubayr. Azubayr? No, Azubayr. Azubayr. Now I don't even know. I've talked myself out of it. All right. This was off of that because of something that I said. So let's do it.
الله ربي والإسلام ديني ومحمدا رسول الله ويقيني أدنو إليه ساجدا بجبيني اقبل صلاتي وللصواب اهديني.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Our lecture today is about a topic that a lot of people discuss and comes in the news every few years or every few decades when something of an incident happens where this topic once again is brought into the limelight. And I typically begin my lectures about the Mahdi by talking about an incident that most of the Muslims are not familiar with, and this year marks the 40th anniversary of that incident. Those of you that are above the age of 50 remember this incident. I was too young to know it when it happened, and I only found about it when I was a teenager, and I could not believe that that incident had happened when I found out about it. And that is that in the year 1979, 40 years ago, and the
It's a great year, I hear. A fantastic bottle of wine was made November 17th of that year, I hear. I'm talking about myself.
date was the 1st of Muharram in the year 1400 of the Hijrah. The date was intentional. 1st Muharram, 1400 Hijrah. A group of overzealous fanatics stormed the Kaaba with submachine guns and held the Kaaba hostage. These were not non-Muslims. These were overzealous fanatics from within our faith.
What? Where were they holding it hostage for? Were they going to get money from it? Come on, Kaaba. Empty your drawers. We know you got money in there. By that I mean cash register drawers, not pants. Kaaba doesn't wear pants. Why would it also have a cash register in it? That's stupid.
These were people who were huffaz of the Quran. These were people who were students of Islamic knowledge. These were people whom some of the greatest ulama knew by name. In fact, some of the greatest ulama's children were a part of this group. Some of the great ulama, their own sons were a part of this group. And this group was a overzealous, fanatical group that felt that the end of times was close by, that judgment was going to come, and that they had discovered who the Mahdi was. And so they held the Kaaba hostage after Salat al-Fajr, and they announced on the microphone, they took the microphone after the end of Fajr, and they announced that we now have the Mahdi, and everybody has to give the oath of allegiance to the Mahdi.
I thought they had the Kaaba. Is the Kaaba the Mahdi? Did I confuse myself? I should probably keep listening, shouldn't I?
And they took forward a man by the name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qahtani, and they said, this is the Mahdi that has been...
You know what I really dislike? When I pause to ask a question, but if I had just continued to play the video, the answer would have been presented. Do you know how stupid I feel sometimes? And it's a reasonable question to ask, like, wait a minute. Okay. Do I ask this question? I'm going to go back because I'm not going to ask this question. I'm not going to ask what's so special about the Mahdi. But I'm not going to ask that because that would be stupid, and I'll probably find out in 2.5 seconds. So I'm not going to ask that question. But I'm going to go back for a second because he pulls up somebody named Muhammad. We all heard it. Okay.
The name of Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qahtani, and they...
Kabtali? Muhammad Qadhi. Why does that last name sound familiar? Or do I just think it sounds familiar? I've heard a lot of different Muslim names, and for some reason Qadhi sounds familiar. Or do I think it sounds familiar? Or does it sound like something else that I would recognize? I don't know. I'm talking myself in circles.
He said,
Why are you listening to this?
this is the Mahdi that has been predicted in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
It's a good thing I didn't ask that question, what the Mahdi was, because I would look like a fool right now. But I didn't ask the question, remember? Okay.
And at the end of a gun, they force the Hujjaj, the Indians, Pakistanis, Bengalis, Egyptians, have no clue what's going on. They force them, you have to give the oath of allegiance. These are Hujjaj. It was the Hajj season. Many of the Hujjaj were still there. It was just a few weeks after Hajj, first of Muharram, right? 3 weeks after Hajj. Most of the Hujjaj were still there. And they didn't understand what's going on. All they know is guns and whatnot and point.
Why did they have to give the oath of allegiance to the Mahdi? You know he's going to say it as soon as I unpause it. He might as well just look at the screen and say, hey, Kris, why don't you shut up and just listen to me?
And shoot. So they were forced to give the oath of allegiance to this man, not understanding what is happening. And then they locked shut the doors of the haram, and they barricaded with machine guns, and they took snipers to the very minarets that we know. This is the same structure that still exists. They took snipers to the minarets of the haram. And of course, as you know, the agencies and the government and whatnot, as you know, without trying to be too harsh, but they are not prepared to deal with these things. And
all right, sorry, I just had to fix that glitch.
Frankly, they don't have emergency plans in place. Let's just be very nice about it. They have no clue what is going on. It took them a day even to react to what is going on. They have no clue what is happening. And they send in the first, group of soldiers, and the snipers shoot them dead. Blood was shed on that day, on the 1st of Muharram, the very end of the 1st of Muharram, blood was shed. And that's when the government went into panic mode. They had no clue what is going on, no understanding of what is happening, and they wanted to clamp down on all the media, which made matters worse because rumors began to spread. Who is holding the Kaaba hostage? Salah was stopped in the Kaaba for almost 2 weeks. Tawaf was stopped. People stopped doing tawaf. People were almost starving because they were held hostage, the Hujjaj over there. Firstly, women, children as well. Then after a few days, they let the women and children out. But then many of the men were forced, and then eventually, bit by bit, they let the men go until only the core fanatics remained. Almost.
Okay, so that turned. So those initial police were showing up just trying to figure out what's happening, and they killed them? Wow. Okay, so this turned. Okay.
Almost 2 weeks later, the Saudi military, with the help of French commandos, there were no Pakistanis involved, sorry to burst the bubble, but there were no Pakistanis involved, no Pakistani commandos, no, that didn't happen. These are grandmother's tales. French commandos, the CIA of France, the secret military police of France was brought in, and they were stationed in Ta'if, and they taught the Saudis overnight how to use gas, mustard gas from World War I. They taught them how to use very difficult techniques like electrocuting people in water. Very, very dastardly, but there was nothing to be done. And
the French commandos came in and taught them how to use all these things overnight. I gotta believe not everyone picked up on it perfectly. Give me a second. I gotta fix some of the lighting here. All right, I had to turn down some of the brightness on this because it gets a little ridiculous.
And after a grim battle with hundreds of people dying in the course of 2 weeks, obviously I'm being very hasty about this, hundreds, we don't know the actual number of people that were killed, hundreds of police officers and hundreds of the people of the followers of this fanatic, and these bodies and corpses were in front of the Kaaba itself, and there's gun war battle going on between the very pillars. They tried to storm Safa and Marwa with tanks. And so the staircase leading up to Safa was destroyed because the tanks tried to attempt to go in. But the guy that they called the Mahdi rushed in and he threw a grenade into the tank. And the tank exploded, and they took this as a sign that Allah was on their side, that they destroyed the tank. This made them even more confident that the haqq is with us and Allah is on our side. And they kept on fighting to the very end, until finally, after a very bitter battle with the help of, as we said, the French commandos and the techniques that they devised, finally the last bastion of this group surrendered. Over 70 plus of them were caught alive, and every one of them, except for 4 or 5 who were below the age of 15, they were executed by chopping off of their heads around the kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Okay, so he said 70 of them were alive. How many were there total? Because I was thinking like 6 to 10, maybe 15 of these people tops. Clearly, I should have probably been thinking more. But honestly, if you say, Kris, pick a higher number, I would have said 25. 70 of them? And that's just the ones who were alive? This is a much bigger operation than I expected. But I get, thinking about it, if you're bringing in French commandos to teach you how to use weapons, clearly there's going to be more than 25. But 70 of them were alive. So how many of them were total? This is a stupid question, wasn't it? I'm just moonwalking right into this one because he's good. He's about to say it, isn't he? He's about to say it. I'm going to punch myself in, you can't see it. I'll punch myself in the groin. I mean, you can't see it. I'll just, if he says the real number, you better not say the real number now because I've asked that question.
And there were nationalities of all types, Saudis, Yemenis, Pakistanis. There was even one American amongst those fanatics who gave the oath of allegiance, and they thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was on their side, and they thought that they had the Mahdi. And as we will study right now, inshaAllah ta'ala, the ahadith tell us that the Mahdi shall be somebody who will seek refuge in the Kaaba, and that the oath of allegiance will be given to him between the Rukn and the Maqam, between the Rukn Yamani and the Maqam Ibrahim. That very short spot that he will stand there and the oath will be given to him. So this group essentially wrote a Hollywood script based upon the ahadith. And they chose the actors based upon the script from the hadith. And they then enacted a scene as if it is a Hollywood movie coming from the ahadith. And they became the actors. And they said, okay, the hadith mentions he's going to be called Muhammad. That name is Muhammad. The hadith mentions he's going to have a straight nose. This Muhammad has a straight nose. This is exactly what the hadith says. The hadith mentions that he will be given the bay'ah between the Rukn and Maqam. We're going to make sure the bay'ah comes between Rukn and Maqam. And the hadith mentions that an army will be sent to fight them in the Kaaba. They will seek refuge in the Kaaba. This is why they went to the Kaaba, by the way. They will seek refuge in the Kaaba. And Allah will miraculously cause the earth to open up and swallow the whole army.
Okay. I asked a question about there was an attack on the Kaaba and they would be swallowed up. That's what it was. Now I get why. Okay. I got what you were saying. I get it. Okay, that makes sense now. Yeah, there was a part of me that was like, this is like an action movie. That's what it was turning into. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, yeah, by the way, I should probably look at how long the video is going to be. 18 minutes? 18, 36, 72 minutes. Is that right? We're going to say yes. 72 divided by 4. That's 1. It's 32. Yeah. 18 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is what they were banking on. What was the end plan? 500 people could not destroy the Saudi government. 500 people could not destroy the whole militia or military. What was their goal?
That's 500 people. 500 people. I did ask the question, but how many there were. I forgot. I asked the question. Oh, you. Hold on. Owie. Wow. 500 people. I mean, to be fair, you have 25 people coming in. Okay. You have 500 people coming in. That's wait a minute, only 70 survived? So oh wow. 70 survived after all the gunfights for several weeks. And then all but 4 were executed. 496 of the 500 died. All but 4 were executed, I'm sorry. Wow. What would people will I mean, look through history. You get 1 or 2 charismatic leaders who could be completely extremists, right? Right, left, I'm not picking a political party, but they could just be extremists in what they believe. Even if it's one person, they can talk to somebody else, or if you've got a couple people who have a similar ideology. And they start talking to other people and saying, yeah, but what do you think about this? Blah, 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 blah. And you get people who don't have strong opinions or are more willing to, yeah, this guy's saying something. Yeah. Next thing you know, that person's going somewhere and they're talking to somebody. And that person, hold on for just a second. I gotta fix this. This is driving me crazy. Okay, sorry. And that person talks to somebody. And maybe that person talks to 10 people. And 7 of them are like, no. That's what you're saying is ridiculous, you know? What was he saying is ridiculous? He thinks it's the end of times. And he wants to go storm the Kaaba and, God's going to defend him because, he's going to open up and swallow all the armies and da, da, da. And then there's 1 or 2, 3 people in that group that are like, does feel like the end times. I'm going to go listen to that person. And next thing you know, you got what started out as 3 people or whatever. And now you got a week later, you got 10 people. And then you got 40 people. And you got 500 people. It's almost like it's like a cult-like ideology, where I'm not trying to say this negatively, but you take people who are weak-minded in a way. Stop it. Who are weak-minded, and I'm not trying to say that negatively, but these are people who. Some just haven't developed their own way of thinking. They follow. And there are some charismatic people who can get you to do things that afterwards you're like, I can't believe I did that. I thought I was being nice, but I realized I'm just a pawn in that person's chess game of life. Everyone, I've done things, and I'm just like, why did I do that? And then, but you learn. And then when that person comes around and does it next time, you got your guard up, and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. And then instantly, oh, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. They have nothing more they need from you. They can't get anything from you. I had a friend who was very similar. And then I found out that it's not a friendship. It's a convenience ship. If I can do things for them, great. They don't really do things for you. Okay, you notice that. So then I'm hey man, can you do it? Nah, I'm busy, man. I can't do it. Oh, okay. They no longer bother you. In fact, I don't think I've heard from that person in 15 years. Yeah, it's like a cult mentality. And let me try to scoot back a little bit. And it's kind of crazy how you can have someone convince you of things. What was the guy's name? Sorry, you guys. I just thought of something. There was in America, there was this cult. Well, were they a cult? Were they a religious group? I'm not talking about the Jamestown thing. This is different. Oh my goodness, his name was Applewood, Applewhite. Give me a second. I want to look this up. It was just a quick highlight. Heaven's Gate. Let me look it up. Give me a second. Okay. Heaven's Gate religious group. In 1997, they were a new religious movement known primarily for mass suicides committed by its members in 1997. Designed as a cult. It was founded. Oh, I didn't realize it was in 74. Marshall Applewhite. Now I'm gonna pop on the picture, and you look at that guy. I want you to look at his picture, and tell me. We all have hindsight now, but tell me if this guy walked up to you, are you listening to him? Because my answer would be no. You ready? You gonna listen to that guy? Hey, I've got a great idea. Why don't you get away from me, crazy man? Why don't you do that? All right? No, I don't want anything. I don't know what you're selling, but I ain't buying. All right? I'm going to get you into heaven. I don't want to go to your heaven. You freak me out. Why do you have white hair but dark eyebrows? I don't like this. Please get away from me, sir. Why does it look like this ear is bigger than this one? Sir, I'm scared of you. Please. Who's this? Later known as T? She died of melanoma, metastatic to the liver. So it's like cancer, I'm going to guess. Anyways, okay, so she's must be his. Okay, so that was his wife. Anyways, this group, there was a comet involved. Yes, has been characterized as a UFO religion. Okay, so they were. No, they have an official website. They still have an official website? Hail Bop brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Oh, yes. Wow. To order a hard copy of our book, Everyone in your religious group committed suicide, sir. What's the hard copy, or what's that going to tell me? That's okay. They sell videotapes. Last chance to evacuate Earth before it's recycled. I don't think it was recycled. So, anyways, this group, Comet Hail Bop. Let me try saying that again. So they believed that this comet was supposed to pass, and it was supposed to be super bright. In 1997, if you're alive, you'll remember it. I vaguely remember. I remember it because of them. And this comet was coming, and a bunch of these. I think they did it in stages. They had groups marked in stages. I don't remember how many there were. Discovered. Okay, 39 active members of the group. There were more, but excuse me. So as this comet was approaching, they all had to commit suicide. Oh, I'm phasing. I'm going to the comet. They all had to commit suicide because behind this comet, only they knew, was a UFO that when you committed suicide, I think it pulled your soul up, and then the UFO took you to heaven. Completely realistic, obviously. I mean, I remember thinking, oh darn, there went my chance to go to heaven. What am I going to do now? Oh, I guess I'll drink more Coca-Cola. So these guys went on and did that, but they did it in stages, I believe. They took poison, I believe. None of this is important. It's just to show that you get a few people who will convince you. Okay, here you go. October 96, monastery, 9,200 square feet. It's a big mansion. They paid the $7,000 per month rent in cash. What? Wait a minute. The same month the group purchased alien abduction insurance? They sell that shit? I got to get into alien abduction insurance. Starting today, my channel will sell you, and only you, alien abduction insurance for a low fee of $50 a year. A month. $50 a month. That you can get what? Sorry. You can it covered up to 50 members and would pay out $1 million per person. Policy covered abduction, impregnation, or deaths by aliens. What the hell? What the hell? What's happening, man? Oh, yeah. The 39 adherents, 21 women, 18 men between 26 and 72. Jeez. Are believed to have died in 3 groups over 3 successive days. I thought it was like in one night, all groups. But they had people that were designated, designated, that's the better word, that they could not participate in the suicide. They had to stay and clean up behind everyone. And then I think they had to call the police. And those people, there's some alive today, I believe, who think they missed out on their chance to go to heaven. All this is just to say that I'm laughing about this. Why would 500 people think this? But you can understand why people do it. Like, I don't get it. I cannot comprehend killing myself to go to heaven when I've always thought, and I've always believed, and I've always been told suicide is like the worst thing you can do. Now, I would think and I could be wrong, but I would think there would be exceptions made. If you're dying of cancer and you don't want to suffer and you kill yourself, to me, that's okay. Is it okay in the eyes of God? I don't know. But if I'm God, I'm not. I'm going to look past something like that. I understand. There's nothing you're going to do to get better. And why would I want anything that I've created to suffer? If I've made a creation, then obviously I love that creation. If that creation is showing love to me, I wouldn't want them to suffer. But I don't know the rules on that. So I've been speaking a lot right now, and I do apologize. I'll get back to the video. But like, it's just to show that people are willing to do a lot if they find someone who inspires them to do it, even if it's bad. And who do you blame on that? Do you blame the charismatic leaders who can convince you? Or do you blame the people who were just looking for something to believe in? It's really difficult to assign blame on something like that. The charismatic person is, yes, that's a terrible person to begin with. But I feel bad for people like who get, of the 500, how many of those people just, they really did believe it. But they also believe that, well, yeah, but the passion in what they're saying. It's too bad. A lot of people died for unnecessary reasons.
Firmly believed, and these were religious fanatics, by the way. They were religious folks. They were huffaz, they were ulama and sons of ulama, they were students at Medina, they were overall righteous people, or at least we should say, people assumed them to be righteous. They weren't in their real lives, they had a misunderstanding of the faith. But outwardly, they appeared to be righteous people.
They had a misunderstanding of the faith, but again, somebody came in, maybe they had a misunderstanding. Somebody stepped in and made that misunderstanding make sense. And I just mean all they did, you're like, I don't understand this. And then there's this. And somebody steps in and connects that dot. They take this and this. I apologize for the blurriness behind me. But somebody steps in and they say something that links it together, and you're like, oh, I got it. I get it.
People, and they felt Allah was on their side, and so they were confident that when we bring the Mahdi to the Kaaba and the oath will be given to him, no matter what army is sent, Allah will destroy the army. We just have to wait for Allah's help. But no help came. And the Mahdi was killed in the battle, and his picture is still available of that Mahdi, the alleged Mahdi, the pseudo Mahdi. His picture is still available with a bullet head to his wound, and his whole followers were completely executed. And by the way, FYI, at that time there was a young Yemeni Saudi by the name of Osama bin Laden, and he said the events of Juhayman, with the events of the Mahdi, were the first events that inspired me to look into religion. And you can see where the story goes from there. Bin Laden's claim to fame, Bin Laden's understanding of Islam, it was inspired from Juhayman.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not going to look up that picture. We are I'm not doing it. I don't need to see it. I've had so much about the Charlie Kirk killing lately, and people are like, hey, do you want to see the video? No, I don't. I don't want that in my head. You want to see pictures of somebody with a bullet in their head or something like that? Fantastic. I'm going to watch a little picture of a bunny eating a watermelon. We have different objectives. I don't want that clouding things in my head. I don't need to see it. But that goes to show you, if Bin Laden is inspired, that's the word, by something like this, his inspiration is going to be on the wrong path. But everything he does, he believes is on the right path. So when people come along and he's talking to them, he's going to tell them everything from his perspective. Maybe if he was influenced by something else, maybe everything that we know about bin Laden's different today. But that goes for everybody. Everybody has those paths, the fork in the road. Which path you take does kind of, I think, highlights who you are. And yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I think everybody kind of understands. We all have the path to take, and you can either strive to be good, strive to be bad, strive to ride the fence, whatever.
This person who did this, and he felt that this movement had been wronged by the Saudi government. He was more sympathetic to the movement, and people like myself are sympathetic to neither, to be honest, but still, he was more sympathetic to the movement than he was to the people who attacked it. And you see what happens when you go down this line, and your understanding of Islam becomes very different from reality. Nonetheless, this story, and by the way, there's an interesting footnote to this story. SubhanAllah, by the way, I don't know if ethnically I am Pakistani, so whenever I say anything about Pakistan, I am one of you. So it's nothing, don't think I like to talk about our peoples like this. Our people, mashallah, mashallah. What can I say? We are very enthusiastic about religion. We love to defend and maybe even over-defend when something happens. Rumors spread because of a translation error, that an American broadcast was the first to broadcast out that the Kaaba is being held hostage. And a Pakistani translator, instead of saying that the source of the news was America, he said an American group has held the Kaaba hostage. You understand the difference between the two, right? How do you think our lovely people reacted?
They sent candy and fruit baskets to every American citizen around the globe.
Who remembers? Who was in Pakistan in 1979 and remembers? What did they do?
Did they storm the embassy? Or am I thinking maybe that's Iran?
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. They attacked the American consulate in Islamabad.
To be fair, you hear, and the translation got screwed up, understandably. But if you're somebody who's just hearing this information and the person translating it gets it screwed up and tells you, an American group just attacked the Kaaba. Yeah, I understand the anger. Those damn Americans. I get it. Completely understand. I would probably be upset too, because I wouldn't understand why the Americans were attacking. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, I would certainly be upset. So I get it. I'm sorry. I'm talking a whole lot. It's Friday right now. I'm having fun.
They held, like the Kaaba is being held hostage there, and us Pakistanis held the American embassy hostage in Islamabad. And we surrounded it, we attempted to storm, and the Americans, bichari log, had no idea what's going on. Why are they attacking? What did we do? They have no clue what's going on. A person lost his life. This is a famous, thing that happened. Again, it was just a quick reaction. We stormed, they stormed the embassy, and people lost their lives, and the Americans were clueless. We didn't do anything. This time we didn't do anything, they said, okay. So anyway, so this is one of the stories there and a lot of things around the world happened. Iran also jumped on and propaganda. Again, these types of things, groups love to jump and read in their own propaganda. And
we didn't do anything this time. That was hilarious.
And it's sad. We are not, in our religion, we are told to never act hastily. We are told to act with long term, not short term. We don't react emotionally. We think long term. In any case, so this introduction leads us to the concept of the Mahdi. What exactly is the Mahdi? Now, the concept of the Mahdi is one of the signs of Judgment Day. And as you know, I'm doing the series of Judgment Day on every Wednesday. So I thought this would be a perfect time to then kill two birds with one stone and talk about a slightly separate topic that is also linked to our Wednesday seminar. And it's also a very interesting one. What exactly is this concept of the Mahdi? Is it true or is it superstition? Do we really believe in it? Are there authentic evidences? Or is it something that, people have just invented to, misguide humanity? Now, before we begin, what exactly is the word Mahdi? The word Mahdi comes from hidayah or huda, which means guidance. And Mahdi means the one who is rightly guided. So Mahdi is a name. Maybe one of you is called Mahdi. It's a name. And some of the khulafa were called Mahdi. And one of the famous Abbas al-Khulafa, his father called him al-Mahdi, meaning the rightly guided one. And there's nothing wrong with the name, but in this case, Mahdi is a title, not a name. And it means the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rightly guided. Where do we get the information of the Mahdi? The Quran has nothing directly or indirectly about the Mahdi. There is no verse that even indirectly references the Mahdi himself. But we have over 20 ahadith about the Mahdi that are authentic. Some of them in Bukhari and Muslim, but listen to this carefully. The ahadith about the Mahdi in Bukhari and Muslim do not mention the word Mahdi. They mention a leader of the Muslims, Imam of the Muslimin. This is the term in Bukhari and Muslim, Imam of the Muslims. As for other books of hadith, without exception almost, the Sunnah of Abu Dawood, the Jami' of Tirmidhi, the Sunnah of Ibn Majah, the Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Nisa'i, the Sunnah of Nisa'i, the Mustadrak of Al-Hakim, the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, and on and on and on. You find dozens of hadith, not 2, not 3, over 20. Some of them are Hasan. Hasan is grade B, B+. None of them, by the way, are sahih, and this is where it gets controversial. Because we should know that hadith is divided into a number of categories. Acceptable are 2 categories, sahih and hasan. Sahih is grade A, hasan is grade B. It's acceptable, but it's not the level of grade A. It is correct to say there is no sahih hadith bidatihi that mentions the word Mahdi by name. But we have sahih hadith that mentions the concept in Bukhari and Muslim, and I'll mention some of them today.
Why doesn't it? Okay, a couple questions. It's important, but it's not in the Quran, but it's in hadiths. So I guess I don't understand why it's not in one, but it's in the other. Also, why not a name? Oh, you know what? Okay, I get. Because what would stop you from naming your child that? What would stop you from changing your own name to that name? I guess when the time comes, maybe people will just know who, well, not people, the Mahdi will kind of just, I don't want to say, how do I say it? I don't want to say appear. It's not like he's just going to, open up a portal. Hey, what's going on, everyone? No, he's going to know when he's needed. When his time comes, the person will step up and everyone will just kind of know. That's my explanation for it. Very vague, I know.
And we have over 12 authentic Hasan hadith, B-level hadith, that mention the word Mahdi with different isnads from different Sahaba. Therefore, the concept of the Mahdi, by and large, has been affirmed in Sunni Islam, because we have the books of the Sunnah that mention the word Mahdi. And the most famous book of hadith after Bukhari and Muslim, and that is Sunan Abu Dawood, number 3. Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawood is number 3. The most famous book of hadith after Bukhari and Muslim, which is Abu Dawood, It has an entire chapter called the chapter of the Mahdi. He entitled a chapter, the chapter of the Mahdi. And in it he has over a dozen ahadith, different ahadith about the Mahdi. So Abu Dawood, the muhaddith, the scholar of hadith, is writing in his famous book an entire section called the section pertaining to the Mahdi. Sunan at-Tirmidhi also has the chapter about the Mahdi. And in the chapter title is the word Mahdi. Some of the great scholars of hadith, they mentioned belief in the Mahdi as being one of the signs of Judgment Day. And therefore, it is correct to say that the vast majority of scholars of our tradition, they affirm the concept of this righteous person coming towards the end of times, and they believed in this concept. Now, we're going to mention, inshallah ta'ala today, the difference between what we believe and what some of the other groups believe. But Sunnis, generally speaking, we do believe in the Mahdi. Why? Because it's in the books of Sunnah, it's in the books of Hadith, and we affirm the books of Hadith. So, let us now mention at least 10 or so of these ahadith, and from them let us derive some of the characteristics of the Mahdi.
He's about to lay out 10. I have been talking for quite a while, so I might shorten this video up. 51 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here, and we will come back. The next, since I'm a minute short, the next one might run a little minute heavier. I'm sure you won't be upset unless I talk too damn much. Anything's possible. But we're going to cut this one off a little short. I just said that. Just repeating myself. For Pete's sake, Kris, shut up. That's what you just said. Okay. I apologize for this being so long for a 16-minute video. So, until part 2, have a good day, have a good night. And Yasir, in the comment, let me know what you want me to do. If you want me to redo 3 and 4, or if you want another video, completely fine, no problem. Okay? Until next time, have a good day, have a good night.